This Dhamma teaching was given by the Blessed Teacher while he was residing at Veluvana, the Bamboo Grove Monastery. Concerning Cunda the Pig Butcher, it is said that for 55 years, Cunda made his living by slaughtering pigs for food and for sale. During a time of famine, he would go into the countryside with a cart filled with rice and return with it loaded with piglets, which he bought in the villages at the price of only half a measure or 1 measure of rice for each piglet. Behind his house, he enclosed a piece of land as a pigsty, and there he raised the pigs on various kinds of plants and refuse. Whenever he wished to slaughter a pig, he tied it tightly to a post and struck it with a square wooden mallet in order to make the flesh swell and become tender. Then he forced open the pig's jaws, inserted a small wedge into its mouth, and poured boiling water from a copper pot down its throat. The hot water entered the pig's stomach, loosened the excrement, and expelled through the anus the hot waste mixed with water. If any small lump of excrement remained in the stomach, the water flowing out would be discolored and turbid. But when the stomach had been completely cleansed, the water would run out clear and pure. The remaining water he poured over the pig's back, and it loosened the skin and stripped off the black outer layer. He then singed the coarse hair with a torch. Finally, he severed the pig's head with a sharp sword. When the blood spurted forth, he caught it in a dish, then turned to the pig and smeared the collected blood over its skin. Thereafter, he sat down at the table with his wife and children and ate the roasted pork. The remaining meat he sold. In this manner, he earned his livelihood for 55 years. Although the Blessed Teacher was dwelling in the monastery nearby, there was not a single day on which Cunda made an offering to him, not even a handful of flowers or a spoonful of rice, nor did he perform any act of merit whatsoever. One day he fell ill, and while he was still alive, the flames of the great Avicii hell blazed forth before him. The fire of Avicii is a torment of such dreadful burning power that it could destroy the eyes of anyone who looked at it, even from 100 miles away. Indeed, that fire is described thus: the flames continually burst forth in all directions, reaching as far as 100 miles. The Venerable Nagasena Bhikkhu, Nagasena, used the following simile to illustrate how intense its heat is compared with ordinary fire. Great King, consider this. If a masses of rock as large as a monastery were cast into the fire of hell, it would melt away in but a moment. Yet beings who are reborn there because of the result of their past actions do not perish. Rather, they feel as though they were lying in their mother's womb. When the torment of the great Avicii hell descended upon Cunda the Pig Butcher, his behavior changed in accordance with his past karma. Though he was still inside the house, he began to grunt like a pig and crawled about on his hands and knees, going from the front of the house to the back. The members of his household restrained him and covered his mouth, but no matter what they did for, no one can prevent the fruition of the result of a person's own past deeds. He continued to crawl backward and forward, grunting incessantly like a pig. The 7 neighboring households were unable to sleep. His relatives, terrified at the thought of his death and unable by any means to stop him from going out, barred the doors and confined him inside the house. Then they surrounded the house and kept watch as Cunda crawled to and fro within it for 7 days, enduring the extreme suffering of hell, grunting and squealing like a pig. After crawling thus for 7 days, he died and was reborn in the great Avicii hell. Some bhikkhus, passing by the door of his house and hearing the loud squealing, thought it was merely the sound of pigs. They returned to the monastery, sat down at one side of the Blessed Teacher, and said, "Bhante, for 7 days, The door of the butcher Cunda's house has been shut, and for 7 days he has continued slaughtering pigs. Surely he must be preparing a great feast. Just consider, Bhante, how many pigs must have been killed. Clearly he possesses not the slightest compassion and is utterly devoid of mercy. Never before have we seen anyone so cruel and savage. The blessed teacher replied, Bhikkhus, he has not been killing pigs during these 7 days. The punishment corresponding to his past deeds came upon him suddenly while he was still alive. The torment of the great Avicii hell manifested itself before him. Because of this torment, he crawled to and fro within his house for 7 days, squealing like a pig. Today he has died and has been reborn in Avicii hell. When the Buddha had spoken thus, the bhikkhu said, Bhante, having suffered here in this very world, he has now gone on to suffering again and has been reborn there. Yes, bhikkhus, said the Blessed One. The Blessed One continued, one who lives heedlessly, whether a householder or one had gone forth, suffers in both realms. Having said this, he recited Dhammapada, verse 15. Here he grieves, hereafter he grieves. The evildoer grieves in both states. He grieves and is afflicted, seeing the impurity of his own deeds. The story of Cunda is not told to spread fear, but to remind us of something very simple. Every action leaves its imprint. Every choice plants a seed. Some results do not come immediately, but they never disappear. Life is not merely for survival, but for awakening to know how to pause when our hearts begin to grow callous toward the suffering of others. For hell does not begin in some distant place. It begins in the habits we repeat each day, and from this very day, we may choose a different path. If this story gives rise to reflection, leave the word awaken in the comments as a reminder to live more wholesomely each day.